So there's been a lot of chat about superhero fatigue, but the Burback brothers here, with Eddie Burback and his brother, have done a video talking about multiverse fatigue, and I'm very interested. I did watch this quickly last night, but I didn't really pay attention. I was on my phone and chatting to my girlfriend, so I thought, let's watch the video together and see what they have to say.
Our series Ironheart,
and to move into Blue Beetle.
The Acolyte is a mystery thriller that will take us into a
to
galaxy
map
of
out
shadows
an 8 to 10 year plan
and
of what
emerging dark
DC
side
Studios will be
in the
in
final
film,
days.
television.
It's gonna be good.
The year is 2008, and superhero movies are pretty hit or miss. Last year, in 2000...
Yeah, God, 2008 was a good year. The Dark Knight, The Incredible Hulk, Hellboy 2 is actually a good film. The Spirit, I never saw it.
are pretty hit or miss. Last year, in 2007, the hugely popular Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy face-planted at the finish line, with critics and audiences tearing it apart.
Find us some shade.
I thought that was the alpha male back in 2007. I was like, I'm going to be like this. I'm going to dance around and everything. But to be honest, this isn't the alpha male. This is the alpha male.
Because the summer of 2008 was the summer of the superhero. Within 3 months of each other, audiences were treated to The Dark Knight and the very first Iron Man movie.
I actually don't remember if I saw Iron Man in the cinema. I remember seeing the other Iron Mans in cinema. But I don't remember seeing the first one.
Obviously, The Dark Knight was incredible, but that's not what this video is about, so sorry, Christian Bale.
Sorry.
what the fuck is it with you?
I don't know. We're sorry.
What don't you fucking understand?
Sorry.
So Iron Man comes out and strikes this perfect balance between humor and serious storytelling. We got this really intimate story about a flawed man who slowly grows as a person throughout the movie. The focus of the film doesn't seem to be, hey, check out this live-action version of your favorite comic book.
I think it does. I think it did. I didn't look into it that deep. I think Iron Man 2 was actually deeper than that.
Hero. It's focused on what any regular good movie does, telling a compelling story. The realistic CGI, pop culture references, and real-world political inspiration of Tony Stark being a weapons manufacturer for the war in Afghanistan made it much more believable than comic adaptations of the past, like Catwoman.
Are they really comparing to Catwoman? I think Catwoman, and I'm serious, is a film every single person should watch, because it's the biggest do not do this, like with comic book characters and everything.
And after the movie's done, don't leave, because we have a little surprise for you after the credits roll.
Who the hell are you? Nick Fury, director of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I remember first hearing about this, and it was on the internet, because if I did go and see Iron Man in cinema, it wasn't till just after its release. But I remember hearing about a post-credit scene. I was like, what does this mean? It said, I think it was on movieweb.com, and it said Nick Fury mentions the Avengers. And it was like, oh. But what's funny is that Marvel had no idea what they were doing going forward. They didn't know they were going to do an Avengers film. They had no idea. There was actually an alternative cut of this Nick Fury ending. Marvel basically didn't have the rights to all the characters, like this comment below says. So this is why this wasn't put into the final cut of Iron Man. But it's really interesting to watch.
As if gamma accidents, radioactive bug bites, and assorted mutants weren't enough, I have to deal with a spoiled brat who doesn't play well with others and wants to keep all his toys to himself.
So it's like the premise was that Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, the Hulk, the Ang Lee Hulk, was going to be involved in this franchise, but obviously they didn't have the rights to those characters and everything, so I guess legally they couldn't put it in the film. I think at the time they were trying to get the rights, but yeah, it's crazy.
So it's been 11 long years, and you're finally at the end of the road. You've followed these characters and this story through birthdays, graduations, that one time at the Oscars that John Travolta called Idina Menzel Adele Dazeem, weddings, and it's been a wild ride. We here at Marvel Studios want to thank you for coming. Now please keep your hands inside of the vehicle until the safety bar releases.
Huh, it feels locked.
Welcome to Phase 4.
Phase 4.
We're not done yet. Brand new on Disney Plus, we have TV shows of all your favorite Marvel heroes.
What the fuck? I thought we were done.
Don't miss WandaVision, Captain America, Moon Knight, Hawkeye, Loki, She-Hulk, and more on our streaming service. We booked out the year, so there's gonna be a new episode almost every single week.
So you're not doing movies now?
Nope, we actually have more of those than ever, and we're excited to see you in theaters in between episodes of our new shows. We consider ourselves pretty average consumers.
It's so true. I think it's more for the general audience that feels like a roller coaster. For people like me and fans of these films and everything, it's okay. We can catch up and everything. We could take time out of our lives to do that. Instead of going on holiday with our families or attending important events, we're like, nah, do you know what? I'm going to stay home and watch all 22 movies leading up to Avengers Endgame. We have that time. But it is too much. It is.
Comic book fans got mad at Martin Scorsese for calling movies theme park rides, and I am begging you, if you are mad at him, to watch more movies.
They are theme park rides. That's fine. I had no problem with Martin Scorsese comments at all. I kind of just went, I just chuckled because it's true.
Now, multiverses or crossover episodes aren't a new concept by a long shot. We've had crossovers from different worlds.
Oh my god, I remember that episode of Spider-Man. Wow. Flashback.
Happen in media for a long time.
That was the original Into the Spider-Verse, by the way. I'm just saying.
The multiverse as an idea goes all the way back to the 1960s with the Flash of Two Worlds. In this comic, the Flash goes so fucking fast that he vibrates into a different universe. This is generally accepted as the first use of the multiverse, even though the actual term wasn't used until later. Since then, both Marvel and DC Comics regularly use multiverses.
I mean, I understand the point of the video. We'll wait till we get to the end, but I do think the multiverse sort of strategy is the way forward for these comic book movies, so you can have your nostalgia, bring in old audiences back that have left, different reboots and so on. I do think it's the way forward.
But in comics, it's not that crazy of a concept because they already do so many crossovers with other comics, different heroes, and even companies sometimes. But the Avengers 2012 set off a
There will be a Marvel/DC film one day. There will. There's no doubt in my mind that will happen, and it might be one of the biggest box office films ever.
Now, we think that Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness was supposed to clean up these concepts for the average viewer and refocus the franchise in a way that a non-comic book TikTok fan could understand. But holy shit, man.
The villain of the movie is Scarlet Witch, who had just concluded her own side story on Disney+, but the writers of Multiverse of Madness didn't even get to see the show that led into their movie because the Marvel content machine hadn't spit out WandaVision yet.
Fucking insane. Insane.
It was still in development.
It's a similar arc in Multiverse of Madness that it is in WandaVision. There could be parallel stories being told there of dealing with grief and loss. Well, I proposed that to the writers who wrote Multiverse. I said, do you know what we're doing in WandaVision? Have you seen it? And no, they had not seen it.
Just insane.
Because it wasn't finished yet.
So Marvel is now in a place where their production is moving too fast to connect their projects in a cohesive way. And they're also juggling the most complicated and messy concepts with the multiverse on top of
I think Loki explains the multiverse better than Doctor Strange into the Multiverse of Madness or whatever. Loki is perfect explaining what happened, but also Loki ended with that the multiverse is open and a free buffet basically. It's no longer protected, but that didn't really carry over into the movies. It carries over into the TV shows, and I think it's going to carry over into season 2 of Loki, but into the movies doesn't really explain it. Like when Toby and Andrew came back in Spider-Man No Way Home, and God, if you've not seen that film, sorry, but doesn't really, because the point of Loki is that it allows that to happen, and why hasn't it happened before in the franchise? So I think Loki's the best explanation for the multiverse happening.
But potentially one of the biggest franchises of all time managed to avoid this and stay in one timeline. One that takes place in a galaxy far, far away.
There we go.
Shrek.
No, I meant Star Wars. Today, there are 11 movies with 4 more on the way. There are also 10 Star Wars TV shows with 24 seasons.
Now, of course, this is partially...
What? That doesn't work. Does it 24?
This is an extremely easy commitment to see them live in theaters and rewatch them every few years.
Today, there are 11 movies with 4 more on the way.
Yeah.
There are also
Clone Wars, Bad Batch, yeah.
10 Star Wars TV shows
Resistance.
with 24 seasons. The Mandalorian had the ability to be an in-universe show that didn't require other materials at all to enjoy. And then they completely destroyed that. For example, if you were watching season 2, they dedicated an episode to introducing Ahsoka.
Fan service, man. Fan service. That's what happens. That's when the complications start hitting, is fan service. But it gets the viewers in. You know, the hardcore fans, definitely.
We've rewatched the movies, played the Lego games growing up, watched the Clone Wars, some of Rebels, played Battlefront 2 a ton, and up until recently kept up with The Mandalorian. And at this point, we are so tired with Star Wars. Holy shit.
Jesus, yeah.
It's just too much.
It's way too much.
But I'm going to watch Ahsoka, and I'm not going to know much about Rebels. I'm not going to finish Rebels by the time Ahsoka comes out, and I want to watch Ahsoka. So I'm going to lose a bit of story detail there, but hopefully they're not relying on you to watch Rebels to understand what Ahsoka is. Even though Rosario Dawson, who plays Ahsoka, so she says it's hard sometimes to tell with things you read online, whether that's actual fact or just some fan fiction, but I'm pretty sure Dave Filoni said that this is basically like the 5th season of Rebels. But he has said in recent interviews, especially at Star Wars Celebration, which I attended and did not enjoy thoroughly, confirmed that you don't have to watch Rebels or Clone Wars to understand what's going on in Ahsoka. It would help, but you don't have to. But it sounded like you do now, because this is technically Rebels season 5 but in live action, so it's like, make up your fucking mind. It's like when Kevin Feige said you don't have to watch the Disney Plus TV shows to understand what's happening in the films going forward. Lie. Absolute lie.
I mean, for the love of God, we didn't even get to touch on the DCEU and the Flash because, Tony, I think we just don't want to, right?
Yeah, they're just boring to talk about.
So for the love of God, at least slow down a little bit. Take your time. Make it less of a commitment for the rest of us.
Yeah.
Give CGI artists a little bit of time to work on these movies to make them look better. Give
God, that was terrible.
your writers more time to make a story that's cohesive, and maybe at least try to have an individual message and personal touch to each movie, because we are all so tired. So at this point for us, it's just too exhausting, and it'll be pretty hard to get us to go to the theater and actually see a Marvel movie.
I think that just a really great video from those guys. Again, love Eddie and his channel, but they're spot on with everything they say. They really are. That, you know, there is gonna, I don't think the multiverse fatigue is there yet, but I think it's going to be there at some point. I think we're gonna really hit a wall with it soon, and then these companies making these comic book movies are gonna have to come up with something new from the source of the comics. But I do feel like the multiverse is the right direction, and I do feel like we're going to be stuck in it for a little while. I mean, it hasn't worked for the Flash, but Marvel, it did work for Spider-Man and Loki, but I don't know going forward. So we'll wait and see.